Hi everyone, my name is Abhiraj Garakapati. Welcome to my YouTube channel Amazing Abhi. This video was a spoiler and prediction breakdown for that time I got reincarnated as a slime season 4, focused on the next upcoming episode direction. Make the opening very clear. This is not a leak. This is based on the anime's current direction, the official season 4 setup, and the light novel story structure that the season is adapting. Season 4 has already moved past simple monster building fun and entered the political stage, where Rimuru dream of a peaceful alliance between humans and monsters becomes both inspiring and dangerous. The key question for the next episode is not simply who will fight who. The real question is how many powerful groups are now watching Tempest, measuring Rimuru, and deciding whether his nation is a miracle or a threat. Start the recap by reminding viewers where Season 4 currently stands. Tempest is no longer a hidden monster village. It has become a growing nation, a trade center, a cultural power, and a symbol of Rimuru's impossible idea: humans and monsters living together under one system. That success is exciting, but it also creates fear. Every market, every visitor, every dungeon adventurer, and every diplomatic connection makes Tempest stronger, but the stronger Tempest becomes, the more the old powers of the world begin to ask one dangerous question. If Rimuru keeps growing like this, who will still be able to control the future? That is the pressure Season 4 is building around. The heart of the next episode should continue Rimuru's alliance dream. Rimuru wants a world where humans, monsters, merchants, nobles, adventurers, and demon lords can negotiate instead of immediately destroying each other. But that dream sounds terrifying to people who built their power on separation and control. In this part of the video, explain that Rimuru's strongest weapon is not only magic. His strongest weapon is trust. He builds roads, trade, restaurants, dungeons, and alliances. He turns enemies into partners. That is what makes Tempest so different from a normal kingdom. But it is also exactly why his enemies cannot ignore him anymore. A direct attack on Rimuru may fail, so smarter enemies will target the system around him. The dungeon and adventurer activity are important because they show how Tempest is becoming an economic engine. On the surface, dungeon scenes can feel like fun fantasy entertainment: monsters, rewards, training, and adventurer energy. But politically, the dungeon is much bigger than that. It attracts people, creates money, spreads Rimuru's influence, and makes Tempest useful to outsiders. That usefulness is powerful. A country that everyone benefits from becomes harder to isolate. So if the next episode spends time on dungeon activity or city movement, do not treat it as filler. It is world building with consequences. Every person who enters Tempest and leaves impressed becomes another small crack in the old anti-monster world. Before we move ahead, please take a second to like on this video. A like tells me that you enjoyed this topic. Your support helps Amazing Abhi grow naturally. Now shift into the darker side of the prediction. The Razo faction. Granville Razo and Marable Razo represent the fear of a changing world. They are not simple monsters who attack because they are evil for no reason. Their threat is more political and ideological. They believe humanity must be protected, but their idea of protection is control. In their eyes, Rimuru's rise is not just a new demon lord becoming popular. It is a direct challenge to the old human-centered order. So the next episode may lean harder into this shadow war. Expect moves made through information, economics, diplomacy, manipulation, and hidden pressure rather than a straightforward battle. That is what makes this arc different from a normal fight. The most interesting part of the Razo conflict is that it forces viewers to look beyond power levels. Rimuru can defeat many enemies in a direct fight, but politics is not that simple. A political enemy can create suspicion. They can influence merchants. They can manipulate nobles. They can turn public opinion. They can make Tempest look dangerous even when Rimuru is trying to build peace. So the next episode is likely to keep tightening this invisible net. The question is not whether Rimuru is strong. We already know he is. The question is whether Rimuru can protect his dream when the battlefield is trust, trade, and reputation. That is why Season 4 feels more strategic than earlier arcs. Another major thread Season 4 has been setting up is El Dorado and Demon Lord Leon. Leon's movement matters because he is not just another distant ruler. He is connected to some of the deepest unresolved pieces of Tensura's world, especially the hero-related side of the story. When the anime shifts to golden cities, distant palaces, and Leon's side of the map, it is telling viewers that the scale is expanding. Tempest's story is no longer only about Euroforest or friendly neighboring kingdoms. The Demon Lord world, the human power structure, and ancient hero mythology are all beginning to overlap. If episode 16 includes Leon or his territory, treat it as a major signal. that the arc is moving closer to bigger revelation. The possible hero awakening is the biggest mystery hook to highlight. Tenshiro often uses the idea of heroes and demon lords as opposing forces, but the story is much more complicated than a simple good versus evil setup. A hero awakening means old history is moving again. It also means Rimuru may soon face threats that cannot be solved by city management alone. In the next episode prediction, explain that if the anime gives even a small scene involving a sleeping figure, sealed power, sacred light, or ancient destiny, viewers should pay attention. That is not random imagery. It is the story, reminding us that Rimuru's modern nation-building dream is about to collide with forces that existed long before Tempest became powerful. As the episode builds tension, expect the outside world to feel heavier. Armies, knights, merchants, churches, hidden factions and noble houses all become part of the pressure surrounding Tempest. This is where the story becomes less like a single duel and more like a board game. Everyone is moving pieces. Some powers want to cooperate with Rimuru. Some want to exploit him. Some want to destroy him before his influence becomes permanent. The next episode may not show all of these forces directly, but the atmosphere should make viewers feel that Tempest is now visible on the world stage. That visibility is both Rimuru's success and Rimuru's danger. Inside Tempest, the response will most likely be strategic. Rimuru's inner circle is not just a group of overpowered fighters anymore. They are ministers, commanders, negotiators, intelligence officers and protectors of a nation. Benimaru represents military strength. Chuna and Shin bring loyalty and presence. Diablo brings terrifying intelligence and devotion. Sawe represents information and shadow work. The next episode can use meetings and reports to show how Tempest processes threats. For some viewers, meetings can feel slow. But in this arc, meetings are the battlefield before the battlefield. Decisions made in these rooms decide whether Tempest avoids war, wins allies, or walks straight into the strongest. Episode 16 prediction is that it will continue setting up the collision between Rimuru's open alliance dream and the old powers trying to control humanity's future. The episode may not deliver a huge final battle yet. Instead, it will likely sharpen the stakes. The Razo side grows more active, Leon's side becomes more relevant, and the hero thread becomes harder to ignore. If the anime follows the light novel structure closely, viewers should expect a mix of politics, suspicion, and setup rather than instant payoff. That can still be exciting if you frame it properly in the video. Tell viewers this is the chessboard episode, the kind of episode where the pieces move quietly, but the consequences explode later. Close the video by saying that Season 4 is slowly turning Rimuru from a powerful ruler into a true world-changing force. That is why so many factions are now moving. Tempest is not simply growing, it is rewriting the rules of politics, race, trade, and power. Episode 16 will probably continue that tension by showing that peace is not free. Rimuru wants coexistence, but the old world will not surrender its control easily. So the final hook for viewers is this: if Rimuru's dream becomes real, the world changes forever. But before that can happen, the people who benefit from the old world will strike back. That is what makes the next episode important, even if it does not begin with a fight. The real war is already starting in the shadow. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to Amazing Up High. Subscribing makes sure you do not miss the next video, and it gives me motivation to keep improving the quality of every upload. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.